What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with another video. Now, of course, we won't be looking at SmackDown because they had the absolute best of 2023, so there's no point recapping that with a good, bad, and ugly. However, we will be looking at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, as there have been shocking allegations against Chris Jericho, a former WWE champion appearing at day one, and who could it be? Talks between Sasha Banks and WWE have apparently ended, a wrestling legend passes away, Shotzi gets married, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Also check out our new website, Wrestlelamia.com. Now let's do the intro and get straight into our first story. Now, our first story, and rightfully so the top story, are shocking accusations against Chris Jericho. On top of today's news are shocking accusations being made against AEW star Chris Jericho. This is a developing story with many unanswered questions. Now, normally we wouldn't report it, but given how quickly the story has picked up steam, we believe it's essential to provide viewers with what information we have at this time. Now, please be advised that some of these accusations are shocking in nature and may trigger abuse survivors, so please go to our next story if you have any concerns. Of course, timestamps are in the description below. Now, House of Wrestling's Nick Hausman has recently discussed Chris Jericho on his Rumor and Innuendo podcast. Jericho and Hausman may have heat between them, as Jericho recently blocked Hausman on social media, apparently after the comments Hausman made that raised eyebrows. One of the things that is so disconcerting to me about the universal praise that Jericho receives, I'm not going to deny the points that MJF made about the impact Chris had in his early days of AEW, but when you have that kind of clout and you have that kind of power, it's very important to use that responsibly. Hausman went on saying, "There are issues with Chris behind the scenes, where I know a lot of people who were hurt by Chris and his actions. You know, it's very uncomfortable to me to see him being lauded like he is, and only to have focus on that, because I do think that there's a lot of questionable stories about Chris that will find their way out over time when people are ready to tell those stories, that will cast him in a very different light." While Hausman didn't make any direct accusations, he suggested parallels between Jericho and convicted offender Harvey Weinstein. I mean, Harvey Weinstein won a lot of Oscars, Harvey Weinstein produced a lot of popular films, Harvey Weinstein is now in jail. I'm not saying that this is happening to Chris, but the narrative can quickly turn if you're hiding a lot of skeletons in your closet. Although Hausman isn't making any concrete accusations, the implications are obvious and they are very serious. It's worth pointing out that Hausman likely is being cautious to avoid being sued for defamation, although Hausman could be found not guilty if he proves the statement he made are very true. Nonetheless, Hausman's statements are vague, and it raised the question of whether he'd be raising them unless he had evidence to support them, indirect or not. Adding to the story is a social media post that ISO Wrestling posted. The original poster's identity has been blurred, so it's unknown who actually posted it. So here's the deal, you don't quit the hottest fed going to their AEW without reason. I have it from people in the know that Kylie was asked to go to Chris Jericho's room, with the understanding that others would be there. When she got there, it was just him. He made a pass at her, no other details are given, and she freaked out. Ringside News Felix Upton also commented on another post shared by ISO Wrestling. It was also noted that an original accuser of David Starr also tweeted out to say, "Sometimes I stop and wonder how many young women out there are wondering if it's safe to post about Chris Jericho yet." Despite these social media posts, no one who was allegedly victimized has come forward, but that doesn't mean Jericho is innocent of the accusations, but the justice system is based on innocent until proven guilty, a situation which is often overlooked in situations like this. It's also worth noting that it appears to be heat between Hausman and Jericho, as Jericho blocked Hausman on X after Hausman tweeted, "What about the NDAs you make other people sign?" Of course, we'll continue following this story when we get an update. Next up, a former WWE champion appearing at day one. A former WWE champion is rumored to appear at day one, but who could it be? The 1st January 2024 edition of Raw is already shaping to be a big night, and it could get even bigger if the following story pans out. Fightful Select is reporting as sources within WWE, while speaking vaguely, claim that the company is on the yard line in landing a former WWE champion to appear on the show, and they feel confident that they can get the deal done. To keep fans on their toes, Triple H tweeted, "Not going to confirm or deny the rumors of a former champion appearing at Raw Day 1, but stay tuned." Before we look at the potential candidates, let's examine what WWE means by former WWE champion. This could be anyone from a former 24/7 champion to a former WWE or Universal champion, not to mention a women's champion. The first could be Sasha Banks, aka Mercedes Money, as rumors have been picking up ever since the news broke that there were no longer negotiations between Mercedes Money and AEW. In addition, there's current belief that Money is not under a contract to New Japan, which means she can work wherever she wishes. Having Banks return at day one would be big, but it seems like something better suited for the Rumble, as it would be a huge surprise. And as we'll see, the current story is that talks between Banks and WWE have quote-unquote broken down. The next is Big E. A wrestling news brought up a current discussion on social media. There's someone on social media who has speculated that this could be the return of Big E. Anything's possible, and while he's not on the active roster, there would not be a need to negotiate since he's still under contract. The other is Brock Lesnar. On a similar note, there's also been speculation that Brock Lesnar could be appearing to reignite his past series with Drew McIntyre. However, Lesnar seems to fall into the same category as Big E in that it's believed that he's still working in WWE. Some fans believe that when Lesnar returns, he'll be booked against Gunther at WrestleMania 40. The other is Bill Goldberg. Could Bill Goldberg return to WWE to get that retirement match he claims he was promised to him but was never delivered? Goldberg's recent comments towards Vince suggest he's legitimately miffed with Vince McMahon. Nonetheless, this could be a work shoot and a smokescreen designed to hide Goldberg's return to WWE for a match at the Royal Rumble or WrestleMania. And finally, Trish Stratus. Trish Stratus has hinted at returning to WWE following a spectacular return earlier in the year. Stratus showed that she could still crush it in the ring and on the mic, so a return shouldn't be ruled out. Who do you guys think will show up on the Day 1 episode of Monday Night Raw? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, talks between Sasha Banks and WWE have ended. It looks like talks between Mercedes Money and WWE have broken down. This follows intense speculation that the two sides were working out a deal for Money's return. As we noted on our website, she even dropped hints earlier this week on social media that she was considering a WWE return. However, Fightful Select is reporting top free agent Mercedes Money, aka Sasha Banks, and WWE had engaged in conversations to possibly bring her back to the company. WWE sources stated to Fightful Friday night that the two sides are no longer in active negotiations regarding a return. One rumor making the rounds is that money was an issue and that Mercedes reportedly wanted a higher salary than Charlotte Flair. They also added the two sides have recently been engaged in conversations about a return. We were told the dialogue was friendly, the back and forth failed to progress, and WWE sources claim that their side walked as a result of it. Money has plenty of options for her future, as long as a promotion meets her price, but obviously skeptical fans will also claim that this story could be a smokescreen to hide a WWE return, much like with CM Punk, which we might added we were right about. Following that report, Mercedes Money also went to Instagram and posted a picture with Triple H in the background, so is she trolling or has a deal been met? Next up, an ECW Original signs a Legends deal. It looks like ECW Original The Sandman has signed a Legends contract with the WWE. The X account This Is Extreme tweeted, it's been reported that the Sandman has signed a WWE Legends contract. The story hasn't been confirmed, but we'll continue monitoring it. Next up, Seth Rollins unloads on CM Punk at a live event. It looks like Seth Rollins is still unloading on CM Punk, as a new report from Wrestling News notes that the Visionary blasted Punk again after fans began chanting the straight-edge superstar's name at a live event. Here's what Seth said. What do y'all think? He's gonna pop up through the curtain tonight? He ain't gonna come tonight because you know what? He doesn't give a damn about y'all. Hey, I've been honest, I've said this about CM Punk from day one. CM Punk only gives a damn about CM Punk. But hey, you know what? You've all paid your hard-earned money to come here and chant for a dude who isn't gonna show up. When do you guys think that they'll book Seth versus CM Punk? Do you think that Seth might turn heel during the program? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, Solo Sikoa beginning a new chapter. There's plenty of online chatter concerning the Bloodline Solo Sikoa following a post from Better Wrestling Experience that Solo Sikoa is going to begin a new chapter. Many fans believe that this chapter will involve the Enforcer finally turning his back on Roman Reigns, perhaps even challenging Roman for the title. It's too early to tell, but the WWE has teased Sikoa questioning the tribal chief before, which only supports the idea of a future rift. Next up, a wrestling legend passes away. Now we're saddened to report that legendary Territory Era star Killer Khan, aka Masashi Azawa, has passed away at 76. Masashi Azawa, who is best known for his ring name as Killer Khan, passed away around 10 PM on Saturday after being rushed to the hospital with a ruptured artery, according to reports in Japan. Now, he had memorable feuds during his career in the territories, including a feud against Andre the Giant that was built up a storyline that Khan broke Andre's leg. The reality was that Andre had injured himself, but there was no way promoters were going to pass on a chance to hype the feud. We send our heartfelt condolences to Mr. Ozawa's family, friends, and fans. And finally, Shotzi gets married. And last but not least, congrats to current SmackDown superstar Shotzi on a recent marriage. She posted a message via Instagram saying, "Just married. When I realized I'd be performing in Vegas, we decided to elope before the show. It was very spontaneous and so perfectly us. I loved every second of it. I'll post a little something mushier later, but it's now time for an action-packed reception." And Shotzi even turned up to a WWE live event in her wedding dress. That's some real dedication. But there you have it, folks. The wildest news stories and rumors you need to know. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.